All right, what is going on, everybody? Got a hot topic for you guys today. Um, it's that time of year where just people are getting injured, players are out, teams are sort of out of contention or in contention, um, and stuff is just what's it called? Reaching its apex. And for the Bucks, it's not good news for the Bucks. This was reported on Thursday by ESPN's Shams Charania around 8 p.m. Milwaukee Bucks guard Damian Lillard has sustained a deep vein thrombosis in his right calf. Lillard is on blood thinning medication, which should stabilize the blood clot and will continue with regular testing. He is out for an indefinite period. Um, yeah, another blood clot thing going on. Um, Obviously, Victor Wembanyama had one. This is sort of a new phenomenon. But before we dive too deep into it, if you like what I have to say, like the video. If you have your own opinions, comment them down below. And if you just like the vibes, consider subscribing. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about the implications, not just for Damian Lillard, but for the Milwaukee Bucks and for their other star player, Giannis Antetokounmpo. There are a lot of implications with this injury. Obviously, this is a very serious injury. This is something that is scary because it's not like you tweak something, you sprain something, you tore something, you strain something. This is something going on in your body, and for a guy like Damian Lillard, this is um this is such an interesting injury because Damian has never had, like, I don't think he's ever really had a real, like, physical injury. You know what I mean? It's always been like this internal stuff. I think he had it wasn't appendicitis, but he had an abdominal injury. Um, I think that was, let me see. I think that was, this is before, the year before he got traded to Milwaukee. So yeah, that was like 2022, I believe. Yeah, 2022, 2023. So Damian has a history of these, like, internal injuries, so to speak. Um, and I wish him a speedy recovery. And I hope he just takes his time because this stuff is scary. Um, to talk about Dame for a little bit here and his time in Milwaukee specifically. Obviously, in Portland, he was a much different player. Never played with a star of Giannis's caliber. For his time in Portland, he averaged 25 points, 6 assists, 1 steal, uh, 4 rebounds. Shot pretty efficiently from three at what is this, 37% from three, and played a total of 769 games for Portland. In his time in Milwaukee, surprisingly, since he's had a couple down years, um, he's averaging similar points to 24 points a game. He's averaging 7 assists. His assists are up. His steals are slightly up. Um, 7 assists a game, 1 steal a game, 4 rebounds a game. His 3-point percentage for his career as a Milwaukee Buck is down by a percent. It's 36%. And he's played a total of 131 games in 2 seasons for the Bucks. Um, Not as bad as people make it out to be. Because if you ask people on the internet, he's been playing pretty bad as a Milwaukee Buck. I I just think he's 34, dude. Like, he's not getting younger. He still has games where you're like, oh wow, this is Damian Lillard, and he has other games where you're like, where's Damian Lillard? you know. But this injury is a bit of a, how do you say it? Bit of a man, what's the word? Unfortunate. It's a tragedy. Because again, Damian Lillard is 34. Um, Giannis Antetokounmpo is 30. And the rest of the team is pretty young, but the rest of the team really doesn't consist of anybody else. Um, you trade your longtime running mate with Giannis, Chris Middleton, to Washington for Kyle Kuzma at the trade deadline. Um, he's 29. I know it feels like he's super young. He's like 26 or something, or 25, but he is almost 30 as well. And Brooke Lopez, the other running mate, is 36. The other guy that Giannis has been on the team the longest with and won a championship with is Bobby Portis. He is out for violating the NBA's drug protocol, I believe. It was just a mix up with the medication he was taking, but they still suspended him. I don't want to get into that. It's not important. Just know he's out. He's not on the team. He's not going to be on the team for the playoffs or whatever. He's done for the season. Bobby Portis. And Damian Lillard's done for the season. And that just leaves Giannis, Kyle, and Brooke Lopez. And then that's really it. I mean, you have Pat Connaughton, who hasn't really played under coach Doc Rivers, doesn't get a lot of running time. Kevin Porter Jr., who you scooped up off the Clippers. You got Jericho Sims, you got Torian Prince, you got Gary Trent, you got Andre Jackson, and then the names just get they do not look good. Right now they are sitting at, what are they sitting at right now? 40-32, so not too bad. They've lost 2 in a row. They lost to Phoenix on March 24th. They lost to Denver on March 26th. Those are both away games. They're back home for 3 against New York, Atlanta, and Phoenix. And then there's a mix of on the road and back home to finish off the season. There are a couple games here that I would be tentative about. I'd be sort of worried about. New York's in here. Miami's in here. New Orleans is in here. Minnesota's in here, and Detroit's in here. Again, this is an unfortunate injury because I've always said the NBA is about windows. It's about windows opening and closing, right? And some teams get the fortune of having windows open multiple times. The window to win, right? The Warriors are a great example. You have a window to win in the mid 2010s. The window sort of closes and then it reopens in 2021, 2022 for the Warriors. And then right now it's I'd say it's halfway open. I don't know if the Warriors can do it in the next 3 years. Everybody's getting a bit older, but it's all about windows opening. And the way the East is looking, I don't doubt Giannis. I really don't. Giannis is a multiple time MVP, a defensive player of the year, multiple time All-Star, arguably already an all-time great player. At 30, I don't think you should rely on somebody to carry a team for 82 games. And Giannis has already had a history of like scary injuries. Not like bad injuries where he's been out for an extended period of time, but he's had injuries where like he'll get up and you'll be like, how the heck did he get up? Let's see here. Giannis has never played less than 60 games. Yeah. Oh no, that's this season. He's played 59 games. He's gonna play 60. He's been in Milwaukee for 12 years, played 151 games. He's the homegrown talent. What pick was he? He was the 15th pick in the first round in 2013. I'm tentative to say, and I was worried about the Bucks in the beginning of the season, and then people got on my ass about it. Oh, the Bucks are fine. I'm very critical of Doc Rivers, who I do not like as a coach, but he's done an okay job. I would expect you to do an okay job with Damian Lillard and Giannis. That is the bare minimum to do an okay job. Nevertheless, I don't want to be hyperbolic again about the Bucks, but seeing the ages of some of these guys and just looking at the team for the future, and by the future I mean like 3 4 years from now. I'm looking at their salary sheet right now. They have they only have they have Kyle Kuzma, they have Giannis, and they have Dame. Um, in 2026, 2027. At that point, I assume Brook Lopez is going to be retired. Brook Lopez is 36. This is the last year of his deal. Um, I haven't heard anything about him returning for an additional year or years, I should say. He's been a key part of this team. Obviously, like I said, Bobby Portis is out, but next year is the last year of his deal. And you don't have anybody that interests me if I'm another team. And I'm not giving you another good player. Um, Worst case scenario, this is going back to Damian Lillard for a minute. Damian Lillard's out obviously the remainder of this season and some part of next season, and hopefully you get him back and he's still Damian Lillard. But man, if I'm on the hook for Damian Lillard in 2026, 2027, and he's even looking a little washed, he's making $58 million. I'm going to be very, very, very. I'm going to be in a pickle if I'm the Bucks GM. I'm gonna be in a pickle because he's making the same amount of money as Giannis in that year, and Giannis is a far better player. Has always been the far better player than Damian Lillard. But man, again, looking at this salary sheet is a tough thing to look at. I don't see a way forward for this team, and again, I don't want to be hyperbolic, but I think the Bucks window has shut. I think this is something Damian Lillard can come back for. But the important thing when you're in this important stage, when a lot of these guys look like they're on their shouldn't say the last legs, but you look at a guy like Brook Lopez, you look at a guy like Kyle Kuzma, who's just he I don't I he's still finding his way on the team, but he's just blah. He's always been blah, and people this happens in the NBA where a guy will be on a good team, right, and he'll look good, and they'll win a couple games, and maybe even win a championship, and then he'll go to a bad team, and then people will just be like, "Oh, he's just not playing like he used to because it's a bad team. He doesn't want to try too hard." Da da da. But the same issues that were there when he was on the good team and when he was on the bad team are still going to be there when he goes to another good team. Bad habits are bad habits. Kyle Kuzma is a shot chucker. I've always liked Kyle Kuzma's defensive promise, but his offense has always been just abysmal. Abysmal. We could pull up Kyle Kuzma's stats right now, and we can get into it. But let's see here. Damn. So yeah, his best year was in Washington. His first year in Washington. Actually, no, pardon me. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Pardon me. Pardon me. His best year was his last full year in Washington. Where he averaged 22 points, uh, 4 assists, 2 turnovers, and 6 rebounds, and on 33% 3-point shooting, 46 from field goal. That was his best year, and he played 70 games. That was the first time he played 70 games in his career, by the way, since 2017, 2018, his rookie year. Um, he he's never gone back near 20 again. I don't think he'll ever get back there. Um, his best year, as I guess, as like a role player, I guess, was his first year in Washington. This was the one I was looking at before. 17 points a game. Still a lot. This guy is the past was this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Past 6 years, he's averaged 2+ turnovers. Yeah, and especially as a role player, 3 assists, um, 17 points, 8 rebounds, career high in rebounds. Um, is this a career high in shooting too? Yeah, 34% from three. Career high in 3-point shooting. Career high in field goal percentage. That yeah. Yeah, that's his career high in field goal percentage. I don't even think you're gonna get that from him. And when you expand a guy's role like Kyle Kuzma, very sparingly do they get better. They often get worse. Um, and this is a tough spot for the Bucks to be in, man. Because like I said, it's about windows, and I I think I think the window is way too. It's the same situation the Mavericks have put themselves in, where the next 2 3 years are the most important because in 2027, 2028, Giannis has a player option to just walk away from the Bucks. At that point, he'll be 32, 33. So still sort of prime-ish, maybe. I assume he's still going to be a NBA player, like a competent NBA player. I think he's worked on his mid-range game enough. I think his three ball has improved just a little bit, that he doesn't need to rely too much on his athleticism. And at that point in Giannis's career, he might not even need to be the guy. He might be on another team where he'll just be able to be the second guy or be the guy sometimes. But I think it's scary for the Bucks because these next 2 3 years matter so much, and Giannis comes off as like a guy who's loyal to the soil, who's loyal to Milwaukee, but he's been dropping breadcrumbs for the last 3 4 years that, like, if we aren't competing, I don't know how long I'll be here. If we don't trade for, this is back when before they had Damian Lillard. If if we don't get Damian Lillard, I don't know how long I'm gonna be here. We need to compete for me to be here. He's always been he's always been flown the idea around that he's not gonna be in Milwaukee forever. And I hope Dame at age 34 can come back from this blood clot thing and still be Dame, but these things take time, especially when it's an internal injury. These things take time, and they take um, months after you've officially recovered to get back to. And we'll see how both Victor Wembanyama and Dame come back from these things. Obviously, one is much younger than the other, but it's uh, it's it's an awkward situation for the Bucks to be in. Specifically, taking it away from Dame into the bigger picture, it's a sketchy situation. It's interesting, man. And let me see here. Let me see if I can find a playoff what is it called? A playoff picture for you guys. See if I can pull up a who the Bucks would be playing right now if the playoffs started today. Um, let me see. Hold on. NBA. Here we go. Let's see if we can find a playoff picture for you guys. Yes. Okay. So this was posted 4 hours ago. So right now, the Bucks would play the Knicks, the beat up Knicks. And then who would they play? They would play. Ooh, ooh. I think they would have to play Boston in the second round, right? Yeah, they would have to play Boston in the second round. That is not what you want. That is not what you want if you're banged up. If you're a banged up Milwaukee team, you do not even want to see the Celtics to the conference finals. And the 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 Celtics don't have the best guards in the league, but they have a lot of size. They have a lot of guys, role player guys. They obviously have Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown, but but that would be that'd be such a crushing blow to lose Dame, then I would hope they would beat the Knicks. I don't even know if they beat the Knicks. I think they beat the Knicks. And then in the conference semis to just play Boston when you're not fully healthy and Boston's looking fully healthy. They rested Jason Tatum the other day or last night because of that ankle injury. He's probably going to be healthy by the time the playoffs roll around. It's not it's not looking good for Milwaukee in the situation they're in. And that's all I'll say. Um, I wouldn't even speculate on where I would want to see Giannis if the season fails or next season or whatever. But Milwaukee fans, I would be very, very scared because these playoffs roll around. Doc Rivers does not have a good record in the playoffs. He does not have a good reputation in the playoffs. So I wish you guys the best of luck, um, and wish Damian Lillard a speedy recovery. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys next time. Cheers.